My mom sang all the time, so it was really cool to listen to her sing. She loved to sing. She brought home this little tape recorder, and I instantly loved the thing. I liked to see the reels going around, and I just thought it was amazing that you could say something or sing something and then play it back and hear it again. And then when I got to be about 12, she got me a real Sony tape deck, and that's when I really started recording. Style I started recording was my own bands and my friends' bands' rock and roll. So I mean, we were heavily influenced by Led Zeppelin and the Stones and the Beatles. I was always influenced by the Beach Boys, but those guys really, you know, we always did heavy rock and roll. In high school, my guidance counselor asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I wanted to be a recording engineer, and he laughed at me. He said, "There's no schools for recording engineering." This was 1972. So by 76, there may have been a couple, but the only one that I knew was in Hollywood, California, in LA. And it was called Sherwood Oaks Experimental College. My mom and dad were living out there, so I took a trip. I spent a couple years there. I worked with a recording engineer named Doc Siegel, and Doc worked at the Village Recorders. He worked at Gold Star. He recorded the first two Buffalo Springfield records. He was amazing. He was the guru, and he taught me so much. Don't fix it in the mix. So for me, it's so odd these days, the way I see people recording. They don't think about the mix when they're recording, and stuff just comes on, and it's a mess. And then it takes them hours and hours and hours to fix it in the mix. Doc taught me to get it right when you're recording it, and then when you mix it, it'll be a piece of cake. Doc was my mentor. Doc I actually sat with, and he showed me how to do it. But you know, I've always loved George Martin and Brian Wilson. I was always a Beatles, Beach Boys guy, so the George Martin, Brian Wilson thing was what really heavily influenced me then and now. It just continues to do that. In 1979 or 80, in my studio in Merchantville, Soundtech Recorders was my first studio. I started that in 77. By 79, I was really getting good. I had a little 8-track tape machine. I had my sound workshop, little 12-channel console, bunch of good mics. I did a live recording in 1979 in Albany, New York, of a tenor sax player, J.R. Montrose, his name is, and I recorded him in the back of a van. It was a mobile rig we set up. It was pretty funky, but it worked. And we drove up to Albany. The producer wanted us to go up there and record him live in a bar called the Lark Tavern. And I recorded him live to 2-track tape. I mixed it live. I put it on 2-track tape live. You know, the producer just said, "Whatever you think." So I did it. I handed it to the producer. I never heard it again for like 30 years, and I just found the record. And and I played it, and it blew my doors off to hear that thing. I mean, it was amazing. It was just amazing. And I recorded a band called The Force. I had an 8-track machine. They wanted to do 16 tracks. So I had to bounce. And the process was cut the bass, drums, and the guitar, take that stuff, bounce it to 2 tracks. And so basically you were mixing it right there. You had to make a decision what was right, what wasn't. You bounced it, put it on the 2 tracks, erased everything. So it was done. Once you got it on the 2 tracks, it's over. Now you got 6 tracks left, and you go from there. And then, of course, Kuf brought so many people in the studio here, and he continues to do it. We made his last record, A Positive Light, here, and through that process, he must have brought 50 people in the studio, and those 50 people tell 50 people, and all of a sudden this thing grows and everybody knows who you are, and that's how it happens with Philly.
Releasing energy, replenish, brand new way to be. Good music touch your soul, good moves like solid gold. Look, this time we need the most, something real that can heal our folks, huh? We learned this years ago. As a child, we moonwalked the globe. Our light strobe, the maestro, the tightrope, the high slope, full speed is all parade, no rain.